Hi, you guys. By the way, I finally dyed my hair. I grew it out really long so it would be super healthy. And look, it looks really good, I think. Look. Oh. So, it's finally dyed. Now I just need a facelift. All right. So what did you guys think? Jennifer Fessler goes on Watch What Happens Live and says that she's on Ozempic, had a facelift and a nose job. And I'm like, wow, sign me up. No, it was a lot, wasn't it? It was kind of weird. I don't know. It's just strange. I guess she was just trying to be honest about her. I wish she had just said she went to a retreat. That's so much more fun because then we could know that she's lying and look for it. Look for the truth. Anyway, I thought the Watch What Happens Live was a little dull tonight. You know, Fuda and Jennifer Fessler were definitely playing to the audience, which I never like. It's like, just be hated. Just don't worry about it. Don't try to get a fan base. Anyway, all right, let's get into this recap, shall we? Let me first spill a little gossip I heard this week that might interest you. So you guys, I wanted to include this in today's video because this is actually Teresa's wedding engagement dinner party seating chart, which is what you see Teresa arguing about on episode 2 of season 13 at Danielle Cabral's mozzarella party. Teresa and Melissa break into a fight, and Melissa says, "How dare you sit me at another table away from the family? You know, I was like sitting away from you, and that's so uncool as an Italian family kind of thing," which is we sort of get set up for, right? From the Louis Ruelas-Joe Gorga fight, which happens a bit down the line. And well, it turns out that, and then Melissa says, it's okay, I forgive you, it's not a big deal, no problem. But it turns out that Teresa released her seating chart, and what Teresa said was true, which is that Melissa was originally supposed to sit at her table. And then Teresa leaked that the reason Melissa wasn't seated at her table was that she wanted to sit next to her boys who were seated at the other table, because that's where the younger kids were supposedly going to be seated. So she just wanted to be with her boys, and she asked to move, and Teresa moved her. But then Melissa used it on the show to attack Teresa. It was so bizarre. For what it's worth, I thought you would enjoy seeing that. Now, I also found out that the blind item that allegedly Teresa charged Dolores an appearance fee for her softball charity event in season 13 is also false. She didn't charge a fee to Dolores for that softball game as a celebrity to go, and Dolores did not make money on the softball game, as was floating around in the blind items. Let me show you my receipt. One of my friends knows Teresa very well, and I point blank asked. I was like, hey, is this true? Is this blind accurate? And she wrote this. Oh my gosh, what? No, Teresa didn't take a cent. She would never ever charge Dolores or any friend for a charity event. And I found out Dolores did indeed make the money that she said she made for the charity on the show. But then, you guys, look what I found. It's so weird. Jennifer Ruelas, Louis Ruelas' sister, reposted this from Melissa's old nose on TikTok.
When your new aunt congratulates you and crickets from your godmother.
Okay, something is really off with that to me. I mean, why would Jennifer Ruelas' obscure account on TikTok make an acknowledgement of Gabriella's graduation picture and call out that she congratulated Gabriella when Melissa Gorga, her godmother, didn't congratulate her publicly on social media? And why then would the biggest Melissa Gorga sort of account that like is anti-Melissa Gorga, I should say, Melissa Gorga's old nose is the name of the account, repost that and know about it, because Jennifer Ruelas is the most obscure human. Just saying, I could get Veronica because she's been on YouTube and stuff. I could get Louis Ruelas, certainly, because that would make sense. But Jennifer Ruelas, something's off. I need to reach out to the Melissa's Old Nose account and find out if that info is forwarded to her. I'm just saying. Is someone trying to get the word out? Pro Ruelas, anti Gorga. All right, if you're feeling generous, now's the time to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button and reshare if you feel like it. All right, let's get into Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 7 recap. Everybody's very upset at their housing that they're going to be staying at the Jersey Shore. To be honest, I think the producers rigged it this way. But for the purposes of the show, Teresa is pissed because she has never been invited to Joe and Melissa's house to stay with them. She also said her daughter asked if she could use their Jersey house or go see them at it at one point or another, and they said no. So this really upsets Teresa that, again, Melissa and Joe don't extend an invitation for Teresa or Louis to stay at their vacation home at the shore. Instead, they give an invitation to Jackie Goldschneider and her husband, Evan, and Margaret, Joseph, and her man, Joe. Another storyline happening during this episode is Jennifer Aydin is still having marital problems with Bill Aydin, and they go to counseling, and it doesn't seem to have done that much good for them, but they are trying to stay positive and put on a party front for this shore trip that comes across on the show. Now, Jennifer Aydin refers one of her jewelry friends to Teresa Giudice to go get gifts for the maid of honors for her wedding that is coming up at this time with Louis Ruelas. And she decides on a necklace, and they talk about jewels, and Teresa shows all the jewelry that Louis Ruelas has bought her, and Jen is like, great, let's spend Louis's money, and that's what happens. But also what happens at this moment is Jen starts to set up Margaret, and Teresa's been working towards this goal too. And what is this setup? It's basically to say that Margaret gets dirt on everybody to prevent them from coming for her on the show, because the cast members know that if they go for Margaret, then Margaret will use whatever she found in Gossip Land or on Dishing Drama Dana or on the blog sites or other gossip sites against the cast members on the show, and she will go as deep and dark as needed. So Jen starts to use this known fact about Margaret against her and put in motion in the minds of the fans through the show that Margaret must have some sort of dirt on Melissa Gorga and maybe Joe Gorga that she's willing to come out with if Melissa turns on her or comes for her in any way. And this explains why Melissa never does. So there must be some deep, dark secret that Margaret knows that Melissa is afraid she's going to call out if she takes her on. So Melissa is not coming for Margaret no matter what she does, because she's scared that this will come out. So in a way, Margaret is blackmailing Melissa to stay friendly towards her, is what Jennifer Aydin would like us to believe, and Teresa too. Also, Jennifer Aydin says that Louis Ruelas was the MVP from Dolores's charity event softball game, which was surprising because actually during the show, we don't really see Louis Ruelas doing anything that great. We see Joe Gorga doing great things and other people, but not him. But then when they do the flashback of what Jen's talking about this week, we see Louis do this like great catch, which production didn't put in the original edit. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, I want to mention a little tea that came out that I forgot to mention in the beginning of this video, really quick right now. All right. It turns out that Jennifer Fessler had a very angry neighbor in her yard during that outdoor dinner party she hosted for the group. And that angry neighbor actually called the police, which is why Jennifer Fessler kept saying that, you guys have to keep it down. Like, my neighbors are going to get pissed. She wasn't being arrogant. Her neighbors actually were pissed and called the cops. Anyway, Jennifer Aydin says that she bought this house at the Jersey Shore and she asked them to keep all the furniture and everything. And that was where everybody else was staying pretty much, mainly Teresa, Giudice, and Danielle Cabral. I think Fuda had her own shore house, so she was probably over there, if I recall correctly. But anyway, a lot of people were staying at Jennifer Aydin's new house. Now, the house was very dated, but Jennifer's like, I don't need to change anything for now. It's good enough. Whatever. It's a Jersey house. Who cares, right? But I don't know if that's true. That's her house. I think maybe production rented it, and that was her answer to that. I kind of feel like she made that up, just saying. But I could be wrong. They have a lot of money. It wouldn't be a money issue. I just didn't see that really as Jennifer Aydin's taste, that house. We get to the party at the shore, and they have hula dancers, and Joe Gorga says they got a waxing kit. And I guess the idea is that he's going to sort of, I don't know, indoctrinate, Rachel Fuda's husband into the boy group by waxing him. So he waxes him, and it's really horrible to watch. But anyway, and then Joe Gorga breaks out the shots and starts pouring alcohol in everybody's mouth. Bill Aydin gets super sloppy. He's crawling on the floor. Jennifer Aydin is a mess, but she's able to at least perform for the show. You see her intermingling her liquor with water. So she's trying to participate still. Dolores gets approached by Frank at a certain point, and he says that he's upset that Dolores and Polly didn't want to stay at his house at the shore with his girlfriend, Brittany. Brittany says she's also disappointed to Dolores that they didn't want to stay. Dolores is like, listen, Polly's not feeling well. He didn't even come to this party, but I just don't think Polly wants to stay. With you, Frank, at your shore house, he would be uncomfortable because you're my ex-husband. And she's just not having it. And Frank keeps pushing it you need to do something and make us closer and all this stuff. And Dolores is like, no, I don't. You're my ex, and you need to stay in your box. And I've got Polly, and Polly's my new guy, and he doesn't want to be with the ex-husband. Leave it alone. It's so obvious that normal people function like this. He pushes it. She's like, stop it. And I think Dolores is not having any more of this nonsense. She's really trying to protect Polly because, I'll be honest, being on the show can really scare guys away, and if you really love them, you don't want them to leave because of the show, and you don't want to have to quit the show either to be with them. So she's in a really delicate situation. So then Danielle Cabral repeats to a bunch of women what she heard Teresa and Jennifer Aydin say about Margaret, and that she's been warned about being Margaret's friend. And Rachel Fuda also was warned, and the women, for some reason, choose to attack Rachel Fuda over Danielle on this particular subject. That came out in Watch What Happens Live, that it was actually Danielle going around to all the women, although the show's edit kind of makes it about Rachel Fuda saying it. But really, in truth, it came out tonight that it wasn't Rachel. It was actually Danielle who was kind of planting that seed with everybody. But then Fuda got the heat. Okay, so the women came for her. And we know why this is, because Teresa and Jennifer Aydin have taken Danielle into their clique. So they're not going to go for her. They're going to go for Fuda, right? So anyway, what happens? So Margaret's pissed. She looks at Teresa and says, how dare you, after we made up, start saying bad stuff about me in the sense that like people have to be careful of me and I've got an arsenal of like dirt on everyone that I'll use and hurt them with and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm elaborating, but that's the gist. Teresa then says, hey, listen, I didn't say anything then what's the truth? Like, and it wasn't as bad as I think food is making it sound to you, right? She's like, I was just saying we all kind of do that to each other. And she makes it sound like it's, normal and the right way to behave on the show. And there's nothing wrong with it. But she didn't intend that when she says it to Fuda. So she basically lies to Margaret to her face and kind of downplays what she says, backpedals, right? But she then turns Teresa to Rachel and gets angry. Like, how dare you say what I told you, sort of, and make it seem worse than it was and say it to Margaret. Why are you starting trouble, in other words? That's more it. Like, why are you starting trouble? And so Rachel's like, I didn't start trouble. I just repeated what I heard, to Margaret because she asked essentially. And, I don't know. That was what came out in the edit. But I guess Danielle also was talking about it, but we don't really see that. And then at some point during all this hubbub, Marge tells Melissa that her mother has been invited to Teresa's wedding after she brings it up to Teresa. Teresa's like, you could come, no worries. If you want to come, no problem. So Margaret tells Melissa that my mom just got invited to Teresa's wedding. I can't believe your mom, Donna, hasn't. Anyway, Teresa finally says why she didn't invite Donna or Melissa's sister to the wedding. And it turns out it's a grudge from like 2011. And the grudge is because when they shot the scene where Teresa's yelling, I guess, about at the christening at Melissa and Joe Gorga, the family took to social media and said some bad things about Teresa, Melissa's sister mainly, and the mom too. A little bit the mom too. So Teresa doesn't trust them, hasn't trusted them since 2011 and doesn't really want them at the wedding. But Louis Ruelas pops in and is like, we should invite at least Donna because she was close with your mom and dad is his, where he's coming from. So he tries to find Melissa's mom at the party to invite her to the wedding, and everybody claps for Louis Ruelas except for Teresa because she's like, gee, I really wish you would talk to me about this before basically bringing it up on camera, and then, under peer pressure, inviting Melissa's mom. So everybody's clapping for Louis and, they say, well, Teresa will get over it if she's a little annoyed because anything Louis says, Teresa does. And that's just the way it goes. Anyway, there's sort of an uneventful ending to this big shore party that they're having at Joe and Melissa's house. And what is it? Well, the girls are all gossiping that Daniel Cabral has had this falling out with the brother, and it must be about something more than just a fight over social media, and that kind of treatment. And they're calling it out and saying like, she must be lying about this. And Danielle keeps hearing her name as she's socializing. And then finally Danielle goes over and is like, what the hell is this about? And she starts to understand it. And she's like, my position is it's about that, period, the end, and get out of my business, basically. And she's pissed. And so she grabs everybody and makes them all leave the party, which I thought was kind of weird, but that's what she does. So this was disappointing to me because, frankly, I feel bad that Danielle and her brother have had a breakup. But much like Jennifer Fessler's husband, I don't know them enough to care yet about their relationship. And I just was like, why are they gossiping about it? It's so lame. That's so weak. Let's get to the Melissa cheating storyline already. Come on. Nobody cares about Danielle and her brother. Let's be real. And the secret reason they broke up. Not yet anyway. Maybe next season. Give me a minute. Okay, see this brunette girl in the corner with that kind of hunky guy with the white Izod on? Okay, that is Danielle Cabral's brother that she's estranged from. And this was a picture taken from before their estrangement. Shout out to Bravo Sociologist for finding this. She's a sweetie, that account. Anyway, there's Danielle, you can see with her husband at that time. And then, yeah, that's the brunette. The girl that looks like Melissa is actually her sister-in-law that supposedly caused the problem between her and her brother to a degree by not like helping repair it, I guess is what Danielle says. But she blames her for some reason. You've probably figured out that I've recorded this right after the episode aired and Watch What Happens Live because I have to drop my aunt at the airport early in the morning. So I'll have this video drop a little earlier than normal. I hope you guys still watch it, even though it won't be at the most popular time on YouTube. And I, of course, want to read your comments. What did you think about the episode? Do you care about Danielle and her brother? And I'm, a silly because, it's an important point. What do you think about, the gossip I share in the beginning? Do you disagree? Teresa's seating chart was a ploy, or do you agree with that it's true? Do you think that it's weird that Ruelas' sister is throwing fuel on the fire? I can't wait to hear your thoughts. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day. I forgot to tell you guys last week, I was drinking at a bar.